this very rousing reception we've been accorded right from the airport. We are here to tell Nigerians and the whole world what giant strides Kebbi State government has made. We know that the agricultural revolution of Nigeria, his history will not be complete unless the history of that revolution in Kebbi State is clear. We have said it several times because we know what is happening in Kebbi State. We know that in the last 2.5 years, Kebbi State has turned around the agricultural economy in a manner today that even former political thugs are today farmers. We know that for the first time in history, if the state government should announce today that there are 1,000 slots for Hajj, by tomorrow to be snapped up by farmers. But if we say this, our detractors will not believe us. That's why we've invited the media to come and see, interact with the people of Kebbi State, and see what we have achieved as a government, especially in the area of agriculture. And that's why we are moving from here right away to the various settlements, and we see for ourselves what is happening in Kebbi State. And I can assure you that what's happening in Kebbi State is happening in other states of the country too. So once again, I thank you. Since we are going to see for ourselves, there's no point for me to be preaching. We are going out there and we see where we started and where we are today. From about 5 million rice farmers all over Nigeria to over 12 million farmers today. On my way here, I spoke to the president of the farmers, rice farmers growers, Dr. Goroyo, and he's in Kano right now, where 31,000 farmers are being empowered. So I think the rest you'll hear from His Excellency and when we go on the tour. I thank you very much.
Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Tourism and Culture. My senior brother, Alhaji Mohammed, we are quite delighted to have you, sir. Let me say a big welcome to all of you on behalf of Kebbi State government. We are quite delighted about this visit, and in fact, we have been planning it for long because the Honorable Minister and I, apart from the desire, as he put it, to let Nigerians hear and see for themselves from the perspective of journalists being given access to interrogate and establish, but also because of the historical importance of Argungu Fishing Festival. We are working jointly to see that Argungu Fishing Festival is revived again. And we thank the Honorable Minister, and I'm sure it's one of the things he would want to see an appreciation, in addition to other festivals that we have. Hotungo Festival, which is the Fulani festival, where Fulani from as far as Mali come every February to compete and showcase their cultural values. We have the Regatta Festival in Yauri Emirate, one of our 4 emirates. And then we have the famous Uhola Festival of Zuri Emirate, which is almost a month-long festival that takes place in different villages at the Emirate headquarters, which is Zuru. So apart from agricultural potentials, cultural and historical institutions that you would like to see, the minister and I have also spoken about the issue of pastoralist herdsmen clash. And I've always invited him to say, and I begged of him, I said, Honorable Minister, why don't you organize a team of journalists and media to go around Nigeria, not one state, including Kebbi, take time, interrogate this pastoralist farmer conflict. And I'm sure the reality of the problem will be brought out clearly. The narrative out there that is either a religious problem is far away from the truth. It's not tribal. To me, and I will invite maybe on this visit or when you organize it, to me, if I were to describe it, it is a climate change problem, pure and simple. The lifestyle of the occupational practice of our pastoralists, the occupational practice of our fishermen, and when I say fishermen, from Kebbi to Ijo to Ogonai, fishermen, what they used to do and how they used to do it can no longer be conducted in that manner because the land or the water resources are not available. I once, in the Senate, asked a fellow senator of mine who is from Rivers State, and I said to him, if an Ijo fisherman is told to stop open water fishing, which is like a cultural form for him, and you create for him a fish farm, a fish pond, it takes some transition in thinking for him to accept to do that. Because that one is joyful for him, it has a meaning beyond the produce. But realistically, we have to help him because the pollution created by oil mining, the displacement of land use created by oil mining, we know that if we don't help him, in the long run, we are going to have another problem in our hand. And it is the same thing with the pastoralist issue. And I want journalists to take this seriously because this is part of, I guess, investigative journalism and in fact nationalism in terms of saying a problem as it is so that we can know what to do better. And the minister have heard me say this at a national security summit, that if you go to a prison in Kebbi, and if you have time, maybe you want to do that, who are you likely to find as prisoners tomorrow? The predominant prisoners there are Fulanis. The predominant prisoners in a prison in Kebbi State are Fulanis. And most of them bereft of any education, Islamic or formal. Because people who follow cows do not have time for education. And because of that, they run into problem easily. They run into drug. They become criminal easily. Because, again, they are also victims. Because there are bandits whose speciality is targeting the Fulanis and take their animals because animals are largely fungible. They don't have an identity. So if you take 10 cows from somebody, you can go to the next market and sell them. So they are also praised to group of bandits, some of them Fulanis, some of them non-Fulanis. And because of that, so I'm not going to educate, but I think that is my proposition, that the Honorable Minister, whether on this trip or a subsequent organization, set the ball rolling. And that will help our nation. And like I said, it's not just the pastoralists, the fishermen are also threatened because fresh water is being limited. And we are not alone. One of the biggest problems of the world this year, the Cape Town water problem, where a city as large as Cape Town is now under water ration because the water resources are drying up. So I invite the Honorable Minister once again respectfully to urge our able-bodied journalists to put this among those areas that they will begin to interrogate so that we can make better discourse. I'm not going to tell you about all our achievements because I believe we'll meet again. I would rather you visit first, then we create a session where we interact. I can assure you that we are very, very happy with your coming, and we like to be interrogated so that what we do well can be acknowledged, what we can do better will be promoted. Thank you very much for coming.
Why?
Well, because of his better agricultural practice. He blended the manure with the inorganic fertilizer. And that gave him, and also the spacing between the plants was the normal required specification, and he abided by it. So that made him unique. And just last week, he received an award joining our agricultural show for beating that record nationwide. So that is why we feel, Honorable Minister, we should stay here and you see what this farmer has done. Ina Alhaji Ibrahim.
Okay, madam.
Three times. And from here, the Honorable Minister, you go eastwards, you'll cover 20 kilometers with various grades of rice. That is, some have reached this level, others are transplanting now, and others have just cultivated theirs.
20 kilometers.
20 kilometers from here, if you go down, it is rice. These are the intermediate fields that we have. We will go to an area whereby you have a stretch of 50 kilometers. Thank you, the Honorable Minister.
Any questions?
Yes, sorry, sir. In terms of economic benefits,
Yeah.
The rice farm here,
Yeah.
in time past, what is the economic benefit to the people here? And now, what is the difference between them and now?
You see, previously, the average performance per hectare is 2.5 tons. And now somebody is producing 11 tons. That you can see how much it has multiplied in his income. So they always have rice on the fields. So such production all year round is giving them more income.
And if I may add, the difference between then and now is the Anchor Borers program.
Yeah.
Because with the Anchor Borers program, the average farmer today is assisted in terms of input, is assisted in terms of agronomical, practices, is also, assisted in terms of, seedling. So this system has now taken the burden off the farmer and giving him what he normally would have gone out to go and buy or to go and procure. But the important thing is that from 4 to 5, metric tons to 11 metric tons within the same space, I think it's a real revolution. And what that means is more money to the pocket of the farmers.
Yes, sir. A report by the National Agricultural Research Institute, that's in University of Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria, put the total output for rice from Kebbi State last year at something over just 450,000 metric tons. So I don't know what's your target this year. Maybe we need to have a specific target this year in terms of production output. Let's know.
Well, I think I stand to question that report.
Yes.
Because we'll go to a town whereby in that market alone, and last season, they sold 1.5 million bags in that market alone. So for anybody to say that 450,000 tons is the production of Kebbi State, he stands to be corrected.
So what are you looking forward to this year?
Yeah.
What exactly are you doing to ensure that the local rice production is as good as the parboiled rice? Because most people in the urban areas still find it difficult to consume our own locally produced rice.
Well, that one is just attitudinal approach to it. By coming of this increase in rice production, in this town alone, there are 3 new smallholder rice mills. And I tell you, the product is comparable to any imported rice. So we are trying to change that attitude, and the people are responding well because our rice is healthier and it is fresh.
Sorry, your name and where we are.
That we ate this afternoon, is it locally produced rice?
Any rice you eat here in Kebbi in Government House is lake rice.
Thank you very much.
Process. What you saw there was actually rice that was growing already. This is like in the nursery.
The nursery, yes.
And here, the nursery, this is the seedling. This is the rice seedling, which is now transplanted into the farms. But I asked the question, water, what is the source of the water? And I was made to understand that it is the biggest challenge they have. Because this is the only state that produces rice that has no dams at all. So they really have to have wells in each farm. This is, for instance, a well. But that well is now powered by a generator for irrigation. And with the rising cost of fuel, it's becoming a challenge to the farmers. So water is one of the biggest challenges. But I'm now sure that despite all that, the farmers are determined, they are resolute, and Kebbi is still one of the leading rice producers in the state. Honorable Commissioner, please, if you have more to add.
A Kebbi farmer, that is for water, a Kebbi farmer is paying about 120,000 naira for water. But still, the farmers are not deterred. They are resolute, and by the day we have more farmers or more people coming into rice farming.
So how are you dealing with the challenges of the water? How are you dealing with it?
Well, if the challenge of cost of petrol is continuous, the state used to come in by buying fuel and selling it at the pump price to the farmers.
So you can see, this is
Type of well in his farm.
Oh, okay. They all have their own different wells.
But if we can have a situation whereby we have a a central pumping station and the farmers get irrigation by gravity, that will reduce the cost of production and eventually cost of rice. The programs like
years ago, Nigeria used to import 644,000 metric tons of rice from Thailand. Today, we're importing less than 20,000 metric tons. Secondly, the Thailand rice producers on their own have admitted that because of the rice revolution in Nigeria, 7 rice mills in Thailand had to close down. To me, this is the story. Now, how we handle the issue of smuggling, it's an interstate, inter-country matter, and I think it's been addressed at the highest level. Because yes, it's true there's an ECOWAS protocol, but at the same time, there's also the need for every country to survive. Mr. President and the members of ECOWAS are addressing that issue. But I think the most important thing for us in Nigeria is to see that officially we have been able to eliminate over 90% of rice imported to Nigeria. And in return, we've grown the number of rice farmers from 5 million 2 years ago to over 12 million today. And I think there's a pilot scheme going out this season again of 200,000 hectares of rice. And each hectare employs 25 people. That will be another 5 million people that will be added to the rice revolution. This is where I think I want to look at it. We are going to have diplomatic issues we're going to address at that level. But I think domestically what we can do is what we are doing. You can see that even the customs is doing its best. Every day, consignments of smuggled rice have been confiscated. Will continue, but most importantly, domestically, we must look at how can we bring down the price of domestically produced rice. And one of the things we've been told today is that if we have, for instance, water by gravitation, by gravity, is going to help a lot. So these are areas we're going to look into. But the point is, at the end of the day, we want to make Nigeria self-sufficient in rice. And that's the most important thing. The fact that we are now growing our own farmers and we are reducing import, it means that we are getting to that rice sufficiency, food sufficiency gradually.
Okay, Minister, we're talking about self-sufficiency. In what ways maybe the government encouraging other rice producing states to emulate the Lake model?
There are 32 states producing rice in Nigeria, and the same model that is being used, which is the CBN Anchor Boras program, by encouraging them to giving them seedlings, giving them farm inputs, giving them what you call extension services, advising them on what type of agronomical practices, which you can see the result. The gentleman there has really, more than doubled his yield based simply on this kind of services and advice.
So
The 200,000 hectares you talked about, has it been flagged off or is still
It's been flagged off, and I speak to you today. I told you that in Kano, 31,000 farmers have been empowered by the central bank to this season.
So when are we expecting that we get zero importation? I mean, so that we be self-sufficient. What is there any target from that?
Well, you see, I would rather look at the positive side, and this is what you should look at. If from 644,000 metric tons, we're able to cut it down to 24,000 metric tons in less than 2 years, it's clear that in no time. And the more the local rice farmers, the more they increase, the more we are sounding the death knell for the importers of rice. I'll tell you, I speak today that the Thailand rice growers have made personal appeal to government. But now what they are doing is that they want to set up rice mills in Nigeria, which means we have won. So it's a battle that, yes, Thailand wants to set up several rice mills in Nigeria because we have stopped importing from them. And you see, like the Honorable Commissioner said, the lake rice, or rather the rice that is produced in Nigeria, is safer, more nutritious, healthier than the one that's being imported. The one that's being imported has been stored for several years in very bad condition. It is it's very dangerous to consume. And this is why I spoke to WACOT and everybody. We need to embark on a very aggressive advocacy. Let Nigerians know the benefit of local rice, not just in terms of cost, not just in terms of empowering our people, but in terms of the quality of the rice.
Commissioner, please, one question. You talked about 200,000 rice farmers in
Kebbi.
How many local governments in the states do we have those 200,000 farmers?
No, I think he ruled out, unless he ruled
I
out
rolled out that one in 16 local governments.
Yeah, he rolled it at 16.
Having listened to the farmers and seen their challenges here, what are you leaving with them in terms of what message are you leaving with them going forward?
No, I told them we've noted their complaints. We'll look into them. But you see, when you look at where we were and where we are today, it is clear that this government is sincere, is focused on the agricultural revolution. So we listen to their complaints. Before now, there was nothing called Anchor Bars program. Everyone was left on it to his own. But today we see synergy between federal government, state government, central bank, and even some of the rice millers. I had a very interesting conversation with WACOT today, and even WACOT today now is going out to encourage farmers to produce. But what impressed me most is the fact that the yield has increased tremendously. So this is what I think we should pursue.
They have water problem.
No, last question, sir.
Yeah, the Honorable Commissioner has already answered your question. Honorable Commissioner, he said that they even subsidize fuel for the farmers. So, yeah.
An issue of fertilizer is not even a problem.
has provided us with a lot of investment, a lot of inputs, and we are enjoying it. So I urge all those people who have retired to go back to the farm. They should go back to the farm. It is where the wealth is. All the wealth of Nigeria is it's on the farm. You go back to the land, you will get a very, very peaceful life. And you will be healthy. I've already retired, but I'm now looking like a young man.
What are you doing to encourage younger ones? What are you doing to encourage younger farmers?
What?
What are you doing to encourage younger farmers?
The younger farmers should have to be very, up and doing. Young men should go into farming because they will learn from us. And I have been farming since I was a young man. Even when I'm a civil servant, I have been farming. And I'm doing it right now. So there should be resilience, They have to continue to do it. If you make mistake, you will learn. And then you make another, then you learn more. Then one day you become a well documented farmer who will give advice to smaller listen.
Frankly speaking, for me, the big discovery is that when we talk about a Greek revolution in Kebbi, it's not just farmers alone. This is a retired head of civil service for the state. I retired to farming, and is now giving testimony that he's not regretting at all. Congratulations, sir. I hope this will serve as a motivation for others, that we can all retire from service and say go back to the farm. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
that are born out of this drive for self-sufficiency and rice production. And it is part of the backward into recreation. There are other smaller ones and women groups also that process rice, which you will see like imported type. Because GIZ, a German intervention group, trained 5,000 women to process rice in a modern way. In Kebbi State.
5,000 women?
5,000 women. So as we said, the interesting thing is that this parboiling section was fabricated by a Nigerian and engineer from Ghana.
Any questions?
Sorry. Any questions?
The capacity is 20 tons per day.
20 tons per day. So that means this is a very small mill, and about 3 of them in the organic carbohydrate. It's a capacity for about 400 bags a day. And to me, the thing that you can see is so near the rice farms.
Domin ya ji irin abin da ake yi a wannan kasuwar. Dama tun cikin mota na faɗa masu cewa wannan kasuwa ita ce babbar kasuwar albasar da akwai wadda ta fi kowace girma a Najeriya. saboda haka muna son kai ma minista bayani tun yaushe ne aka soma ciniki a wannan kasuwar kuma irin motocin da suke tashi kullum tun daga sanda aka faro kakar bana har zuwa yau.
Assalamu alaikum. Minista barka da zuwa. Da farko, kwamishina na barka da zuwa. Muna sauran jama'a barka da zuwa baki. Assalamu alaikum. A wannan kasuwa ta fara ƙarshen watan 11 zuwa ƙarshen watan 12. Ta fara ƙarshen watan 11 zuwa 12. Dama albasa tana fitowa ƙarshen watan 11 ne. Remember farkon Disamba tana fara fitowa lokaci. A yanzu zuwa yanzu, amma lokacin yanzu ta kawo ƙarfi. Yadda ma basan ma bana ta ɗan so mai yankewa. Amma har yanzu akwai ta. Kuma a idan gaskiya wannan kasuwa ba Najeriya ba Afirka ba kuma muna da girma gona godiya da wannan karama da ya muna saboda hakikanin gaskiya ya karama mu ya fitar da mu a duniya gaba daya wannan kasuwa muna mai girma gona godiya ya Allah ka dare gida muna ita kuma muna mai girma an ce wata da zuwa wannan kasuwa wato wata Allah da yi ya samu mota tilla 30 kuma ana ya samu 25 ya danganta
magana ka haka take sarki a ta tayi sarki ka kana sarki albasa magana ka tayi Allah shi ma ciya ma Allah lokar gami shekala to gondo Allah rike
This market annually starts from the end of November every year. End of November, beginning of December. And since then, every day between 25 and 30 trailers leave this market to various places in Nigeria. And now the season is getting to the end, that it is even goes beyond Nigeria up to Ghana. I think Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, they all take onions from there to those places. We'll see.
Over here.
And as the Serki mentioned, that they take this onion to Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire. So all this West African sub-region and Ghana. So you are welcome to the onion market, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Well, it gives me great pleasure to be here today at this onion market. I've been informed that this is arguably the biggest onion market, not just in Nigeria, but probably the whole of West Africa. I think this is another evidence that the decision of the federal government to diversify the economy and put emphasis on agriculture is actually paying off. I've just been told here that the season starts from the beginning of November to December and lasts about March. But that during that period, every day, a minimum of between 25 to 30,000 trailer loads of onion are distributed all over West Africa. And you can see that apart from the farmers that make a lot of money from this produce, even those who provide the packaging also make a lot of money. The transporters also make a lot of money. And I'm very glad that Kebbi State is not just a leading rice producer, but also a leading onion producer. And I think what Kebbi is showing us
is that the non-oil sector of the economy can sustain the nation if properly addressed. And I'm glad that the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari is giving every support possible to agriculture, as can be seen from the Anchor, the CBN Anchor Boras program. This evening alone, we've been to many rice farms. We've also been to a local rice mill, and here we are at the biggest onion market, probably in West Africa. We are going to continue our tour tomorrow. We'll visit other rice farms. We'll also visit other big rice mills. But I think what is unique about Kebbi is that not only do they produce rice and onion, but when it comes to fishing also, Kebbi is playing a major role. So you can see that agriculture, from condiments to pepper, onion, rice, sorghum, that Kebbi State is actually a trailblazer. And we are very glad to be here to see for ourselves. And I'm happy I came with a team of about 30 foreign and local journalists who have also seen this for themselves. So our agricultural revolution is not a ruse, it's not a fluke, it's not propaganda, it is real.
Yes.
It's providing jobs for hundreds of thousands of people. At one of the rice farms, we were informed reliably by the Commissioner for Agriculture that over 200,000 farmers engage in rice farming. And you see, when you understand that on every hectare of land for rice, you employ almost 25 people directly or indirectly. So you can imagine the sheer amount of people who are involved in rice growing. And we told that about 16 local governments in Kebbi alone are involved in rice growing. So you can see this is truly an agricultural state, and we would continue at the federal level to give all our support to agriculture. I thank you very much.
Farmers or wheat farmers. So this is a blessing, and we want to congratulate His Excellency Mr. President for for bringing the agricultural product into the lives of the day. So we thank the Honorable Minister for finding time to come to Aleru and visit the onion market, and wish you safe journey back to Abuja, inshallah. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
The largest onion market in the sub-Saharan Africa. I thank you very much, and we do appreciate your effort for coming, and we thank you so much. Additionally, we also want to appreciate the effort of the Mr. President for diversifying the economy into agriculture. People of our local government, 80% of our local government people were agriculturalists. So diversifying the economy into agriculture is a blessing to you. I thank you so much. Decided to give you two bags of onions in appreciation of your coming to Aleru. Thank you, sir.
I'm very, very grateful for your very kind gesture, and I can assure you that always, anytime I take the onion, after, I always remember Aleru local. But on a more serious note, I was with the chairman, the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, overheard my conversation in the car. I was talking to an EEC expert in agriculture. And the idea is that we are working with the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that the onion here we are able to export it into the European market. And that is the biggest market that is open to us. So the Honorable Minister for Agriculture is working very seriously to get this onion, just not into West Africa, but also into Europe. Thank you very much.
Jama'a assalamu alaikum. Zaga ya muna inda albasa take. Ya isa ko ya isa batai. To mota ina mota ta za a bashi. They will take the food back to the market. Da Allah jama'a ga